Welcome to Above the Garage. Hi, friends. Welcome to our discussion of Season 3 of Ginny and Georgia on Netflix. Let's do our round of introductions and then dive in.
Hi, I'm Denise.
Hi, I'm Aubrey.
Hi, I'm Kimberly.
And I'm Kate. You may have just noticed a new and yet very likely familiar voice in our midst. Today we have a very special guest panelist on this episode, a bit of a collaboration with one of our absolute favorite content creators from another platform. She's brilliant, and you can and should find her on TikTok under the handle Prose Without Thorns. Welcome, Denise.
Thank you. I would like to say prose is Prose, not pros as in professionals, because sometimes people don't. So it's prose with an E. And I'm so happy to be here.
It's so good to meet you. I'm so excited. This is like having a celebrity guest. We're very excited you're here.
You child. We are very excited to finally meet, since we certainly have followed each other's content for a while. All right, this is our first season contained in one discussion, so it's new for us. Forgive us for our learning curve. Ultimately, we'll return to our episode-by-episode weekly discussion for a new show in the fall. Okay, admin aside, let's just dive in and see how it goes.
So this might be a great place to talk about how I really don't like Paul.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like I've never liked him like since the beginning.
Interesting.
And I was always kind of like,
Wow.
I'm not into this at all.
Yeah.
And so, that's all I can really say so far. We haven't gotten
That's
to the
curious
to the
because
stuff, but
I've always wanted Georgia and Joe together, like from literally the very beginning, because like
Yeah.
same.
they have this cutest little connection. Like I love them. But I have also always liked Paul from the very beginning. And it was weird because it was like one of those love triangles where like I felt bad that I wanted
Right.
Georgia with Joe, but I also liked Paul, but I still wanted her with Joe.
I think you're just used to unconvincing love triangles that aren't very even.
Yeah. Probably.
It feels confusing to care about both characters in the love triangle.
Yeah.
Like it was definitely an interesting. I didn't dislike what they were doing with it. Like I liked that he existed. I just never rooted for that relationship. And I think for me, it's because like what Kimberly just said, I was invested in Joe, and I have a really hard time splitting my investment in a love triangle. Like if I'm into one fork of it, I stick with it. Like it's really hard for me to like,
Yeah.
I mean, I stick with it unless something like really bad happens or, the person proves that they're horrible or something like that. But like generally, if I've picked a lane, I don't switch.
Yeah.
So I think like love triangles never really get me in that way because
Can you like a character though? Like if, let's say the triangle is the triangle, but even if you're invested in, like, let's say Joe, could you like Paul, or do you just dislike him as a person altogether?
I don't know. I mean, I can still like a character when I'm not rooting for the relationship, like not shipping their branch of a love triangle.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I get you now. I get you. Yeah. Because I was thinking, like, apart from like, well, I mean, it's kind of understandable. The show is weird because you see people do things and you're like, wow, that's horrible, and then you're like, wait, it's kind of understandable. But anyway, we'll get there.
They're good at that.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think there are things about Paul that I don't like for sure, and that I haven't liked from the beginning. But I feel like I still enjoy him as a character, even though there are things that I don't like love about him and that I haven't since the beginning. But I never disliked him as much until this season. But I was already kind of like there in my mind, like thinking like not loving what he's putting down, but let's just see where it goes. And
you wanted to be there. Denise, what are your thoughts on him, on Paul?
I think for me, it's hard to really have an opinion on Paul separate from understanding how he and Georgia got together in the first place, because it was just a means to an end for her. So it's hard for me to even believe their relationship is real, whatever he might think he feels for her.
Yeah.
Because I don't think her feelings are genuine. I mean, how can you not in some form love someone who sweeps you up in the fairy tale that you've always wanted, and he happens to be nice and he's understanding and all these things? And it's not even because I ship Georgia and Joe, even though I do. I just felt like Paul was like a slice of white bread, where it's like,
that's fact.
it's great toasted with butter, it's great with peanut butter and jam, even though I prefer wheat bread. It's not objectionable, but it's also not something I'm terribly invested in. No offense to one Stroman. But That's how I feel about Paul. And so coming into this season, my thing was this poor man married this woman, and only at the last minute does she open her vault. Not all the way, because she's only talking about certain sins.
Right.
And then he gets swept up in this whole thing while he's the mayor, and his whole life is in turmoil because of her. And so, my turmoil with Paul isn't really about him. It's about this tornado Georgia brings into his life, and how, because she's the protagonist, and she has this charisma that Paul just simply does not have. So we want her to be good. And for her to be good, that means he has to in some way suffer. So we side-eye him a bit in a way that I don't really think is fair to him. So,
so you sympathize with him more than, say, Aubrey sympathizes with him.
I do. Even like through the series, through the season, particularly in his reactions to things, and people are like, I can't stand Paul. And I'm just like, point of order, he did not know all of this. His now tangled up. And never mind, we'll get to it. But there's other stuff where he actually says something, and I'm like, did no one hear that? Does no one understand why this is a valid way for him to feel? But again, we're looking at things, even though we see scenes with him and his campaign manager, or whoever that guy is.
Nick.
Yeah, Nick.
I had to look up the name.
And it bothered me that was his name. I'm like, I'm not ready for a Nick yet. Not yet. Name him something else.
I know, same.
I was just really not ready for that. But I think even though we see scenes with Paul outside of him with Georgia, the show is called Ginny and Georgia. So there's an automatic like baseline rooting for her, kind of whether she deserves it or not.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel bad for Paul in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I definitely feel that too. I think that's one thing the show does really well is like, it brings in these, like from time to time, people are going to be selfish, but also supportive, and so they can have both sides to it, and that's kind of how I feel about him, I guess. And there are scenes where I'm just like, oh, this guy, but then like you said, the reality is that he's being affected by this, and he
made a drastic mistake in marrying her so quickly. But I also find myself sympathizing with him more than hating him, even though I don't love some things that he does, but like
he's the Luke of this show to me.
Oh my God.
No way.
I'm sorry.
No.
That is so aggressive, Aubrey.
No. That's so aggressive.
But look, it's in the way of me. I still have some sympathy for him. Like, I mean,
I don't think so anymore.
For Luke?
Oh yeah, I mean, no, also for Luke, right? Yeah. No, you have sympathy for him, but calling Paul the Luke of the show, that is not something I had on my bingo card today.
Harsh. That's harsh, mate. It's harsh.
You know what's funny is that the Ginny and Georgia thing, like their bond is also kind of giving Gilmore Girls, but like in a very different way. So even though I know which Luke you're referring to, I was like, how dare you say that about Luke Dane? And I'm like, that's not what she's talking about. So
nope.
I bring it back.
I think your brain is more successfully
separating Luke's,
wiping out the things you want wiped out of your brain than ours is. Good for you.
Yeah, I have 7 kids and 6 grandkids, so you got to learn to compartmentalize.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that goes over there, that goes over there. But yes.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Well, I'm glad we got there.
Yeah.
Learned that about you, Aubrey.
He just has, I don't know, there's a lot of like, it's all about me tendencies with him, kind of. I mean, I get that he's going through a lot, but he says a few lines where I'm just like, oh man, dude.
I disagree.
I disagree as well, mainly because
I'm
so invested in her kids and looking after them. And
I think there are actually a few lines like in the meat of the season where he says something to the effect of, we're dealing with it out there and you're in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was such an encapsulation of like where things stand, because he inherited this.
Right.
It's not like she said like the night before they got married, oh, by the way, there was a little situation at Cynthia's and there may be a murder charge coming. I don't know. So are you thinking lilies or peonies? You know what I mean? He had no idea.
Yeah.
And he's the mayor. And there's also like all these other things going on. So I think to the extent of, not to quote our Nick, but of course we self-preserve. It's what we do. We're human.
Right.
So like, why is he not allowed to just be like, I'm sorry, Mayor Murderess.
Yeah.
I have feelings in this too. And sometimes Georgia just doesn't see that because she's so long like been fighting with her back against the wall against everybody that anytime something isn't about her, it feels like someone's trying to take something from her because she just doesn't have a lot to give sometimes. But it's interesting. I'm trying to squint and see Paul as the villain because you're not the first person I've heard that. But
well, I wouldn't classify him as a villain at all. Like I also wouldn't classify Luke as a villain. I much more strongly dislike Luke than Paul. I should be clear on
I
that.
strongly dislike Luke for many reasons that we've discussed many times over.
and we blame that on the writers.
Yes, 100%. I don't even understand because at the point in which they clearly wanted the audience to like Luke, they're still writing things like, I'm sorry I'm such a man about it. And just stupid shit that I'm like, wait, I'm so confused. Why do you not know how to do what you're trying to do? How do you not know how to make people like someone? It's not that way. Okay, whatever.
It's subtle similarities. I'm not trying to say that he's a villain at all. There were a couple of things where I was like, okay.
All right.
But like I completely agree with what Denise is saying too, that like he, of course, and every character deserves to have their feelings heard.
I do also think he is committing the crime of silence with her at times where he doesn't tell her what he's thinking.
Yeah.
He just kind of withdraws. And you can't do that to Georgia because Georgia panics in silence because there's so many options, most of which are not good. So if you're withdrawing and only kind of blurting out all of a sudden, that's going to trigger her worst instincts because she's used to always having to survive. So to that, there were times when I was just like, so you're just going to walk out? You're not going to say anything? Okay.
Yeah.
That's a choice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do see that there were moments where, okay, yeah, you're hurt, but you took vows and you decided to stay. Like you can't stay and villainize her at the same time. It's complicated, but if you're going to stay, you have to do the work of staying. And sometimes I just don't think he was willing or even able to do that, but he didn't tell her that. So she just didn't know what was going on.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can basically understand everything that he did and the way he reacted realistically, even though I want Georgia to win every time because I love her.
Yeah.
But it's interesting this show is because I always want Georgia to win, but you know that she's doing wrong.
Yeah.
You're still rooting for her. You know what I mean?
She's objectively a much worse person than him.
Yeah, realistically she is, but
I didn't always want her to win at all. With Anthony and Kenny, I was kind of like, okay, accident justified in quotes.
Right.
With Tom, it was like, this is different.
Right. Why?
This is very different to me because I don't think, from a narrative standpoint, I don't think it was sufficiently established that this would be a kindness for Cynthia. For her to say, I just want it over. It's like, well, George's life is so abnormal up until this point. So to her, that's not just hyperbole, or even not hyperbole, but it's not even, yes, I want it to be over, but I love my husband and I'm not ready to let him go. I think most people would understand that there's an and that went unsaid.
Right.
But in George's life, when someone needs to go, they need to go.
Need to exit screen left.
So she's like, I volunteer as murderess and I will take care of it. But at the same time, when she did that, I was like, so now I'm wondering what kind of show this is, because I can't sanction that.
Right.
I don't want her to get off and get away with it. I don't like it at the very beginning. She's kind of just like, how can I get out of jail? Madam, you have murdered someone. You are where you belong. How is this not obvious to you? But, you know, there's that. But it was just one of those things where for the first time I'm watching the show and she's charismatic and I love her character. I love how boldly she is who she is. But I was also kind of like, yeah, you need to be in jail. Full stop.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Like, what do we do?
Well, and I think that Jenny addresses that too when she's talking to Marcus at some point. She's like, I don't even know if I don't think she should be in jail. That's my problem is I think she's guilty and I think maybe she should be in jail. But she's her daughter and she's been taught to protect her mom in this role reversal that they have. And it's just very complicated situation. But it's the same for me. This is a new death. This is not at all as easy to understand as the previous situations she's been in and had to get out of for survival instincts. I fully believe in euthanasia when the victim desires that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that was never said here by either him or his family, none of the above. You can't make that decision for someone. So I also think that she belongs in jail. And ultimately what happens is she gets out at the price of her children's innocence. And that's insane. Like, this is such a darker season
Yes.
than previous seasons that I hadn't expected that. I did very much enjoy the accountability, even though she gets off legally.
Yes.
There's so much exploration of the actual accountability of how her actions have negatively affected her children and everyone surrounding her. Paul, I mean, look, you watch Paul's whole career fall apart just because he had the poor misfortune of running into her in a bakery. But like, I have seen previous shows where the lead character gets a pass no matter what, no matter what, it's excused because she's had trauma. A lot of trauma, right? But in this one, she's specifically told, I can't remember which character says it, but somebody says to her, you do not get a pass for everything because of the trauma you've been through. And that is accurate to life, and it is an important message. So
that was really good.
It's refreshing.
Yes, definitely. I think like they did a good job of starting her on that path. I wanted to see more remorse from her for like actually doing this to this family. And I feel like she's maybe heading in that direction, hopefully, for the next season, because now that it's affecting, she's understanding what her kids did in the finale this year. And it's like, she seems like she is trying to change. And I believe it. Like, I actually think that she's starting to see what you just said, Kate, about her character. And I just like, yeah, that was the main thing at the end is like, yes, you're now not going to prison. But she heard, what is her name? The wife?
Cynthia or Ellen?
Cynthia, yeah. Cynthia told her, like, you took that chance away from me to say goodbye to my husband. So I want her to feel really bad about that at some point and to show that. Because I think that was the thing that was missing for me this season. But
yes, there was no remorse. Like there was, like when Cynthia comes to see her and she's, looking through her binoculars and she's like, oh God. So she runs downstairs and Cynthia's just like, how could you do that? Georgia's like, well, if somebody did, wouldn't it be a kindness? Adam. And then when you see reflected back at you how insane that sounds, when she shuts the door and kind of leans against it, the expression is not, oh, I really thought I was helping her. It is, oh no, this isn't good for me. And to your point, Aubrey, I just don't think there was ever any sort of understanding of this was a decision I made for this family. And the fallout is on me, and I feel bad about that. It's more so, I can't believe they interrupted my wedding to arrest me for a murder I committed. Like, that's so rude. Like, that's the energy she was giving. So I would love to see more awareness. I think she's getting there based on some of the things she did toward the end of the season. But I'm just like, madam, where is your sorrow? Like, where is the part of you that realizes that what you did was wrong?
Right.
Yeah, and I think she's starting to see it, but it's more about the way that it impacts her kids and not about the way that it impacted the woman whose husband she killed. So that's the part I think that I would like to see next season.
It's kind of like another protagonist we know where, things aren't really a problem until they're bad for her.
Yes.
I wonder who that could be. But we're not going to go there.
But you're right.
I was debating going there or not, but it's fine.
Yeah.
We're not going to go there. You're right.
Thing I do think was interesting about the episode when she came home is the conversation, like at the beginning, I think it was either the end of episode 1 or beginning of episode 2, where she's in her room and she's talking to Ginny about things. And Virginia's expressing, point of clarification, my youngest grandbaby's name is Genesis. I call her Jenny. And so sometimes when I'm talking about this show, I slip up and say Jenny instead of Ginny. So I'm trying to call her Virginia so that I say it correctly, just for clarity's sake. There's a moment where Virginia says something to her about just talking about how things have affected her and like Austin saw and all these things. And then Georgia goes, oh, I'm such a bad mom. Now, I know in that moment, she's having a realization that, oh, what I do affects my children. But at the same time, it's very like, oh, so now this is about you again.
Yes. And she ends up comforting her murderous mother when it's just the role reversal is very...
Completely. Like, to open with that, I thought was really striking.
Yeah.
Like, lest we forget, yes, Virginia is worried about her mom. Obviously, she loves her. But when she's trying to open up like, hey, lady, you and all this stuff you've done is affecting me. Oh, I'm such a bad mom. You are, madam, in this
right.
that you think murder is an okay thing to do for someone as a favor. But in this moment, it's not about you.
Right.
And I think Marcus says to Max, like, don't make this about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
We're going to get to Max, but that girl needs a hug and a massage and a teddy bear.
Why is everyone hating on Max?
Oh my
Can someone explain this to me?
Do not know. What has she done?
I have a feeling it's just because she's very
Emotional, big emotions. I get it. People don't love them.
emotionally invested in everyone's lives, I think. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I feel like they find that kind of annoying.
Right, but the degree of turnoff this season.
I feel extremely horrible for her. Like by the end
Yeah.
of the season, I actually like I thought something really bad was going to happen and she was going to do something horrible in that last episode to herself. That's where I thought it was going.
Right.
I don't know if they would go there next season or whatever, but I was for sure thinking they were going to like not role reversal with Marcus or anything, but you know, I thought that they were kind of
She tries to kill herself. Is that what you're saying? Hurt herself as a minimum?
yeah, I had that thought. I definitely had that thought, especially when like she left the Ginny's poem when she
Yeah.
before. Just had a really bad feeling.
I can see that happening because nobody is looking at her and nobody's caring about her at all. She is extremely worried about everybody else in her life to the point that it's driving her like crazy. And nobody will give her the time of day. And I did not like that. It made me really, really sad for her. And Jenny is a straight up bitch to her in the end. I don't understand why Jenny was like
At the party, yeah.
That conversation
Yeah.
was cold AF.
And it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
Her energy in that moment, the indifference of it.
Yeah, the shrug. She dismissed her with a half shrug and not a care in the world. And they've been friends for years. And she's the very first person that embraced her when she moved here.
Yeah.
Brought her into the friend group. Like, for all these reasons, even if you're annoyed with her, what kind of person it would take to treat her like that, I don't understand.
I do wonder, because I went back, I watched the seasons when they premiered. Like, I binged 1, binged 2, binged 3. And then I've gone back and watched recaps of each season and choice moments to just try to get an understanding.
Yeah.
I do remember that the way Max turned on her at the end of everybody turned on her at the end of 1.
Yeah.
And then she was kind of on her own. And then she and Abby were kind of isolated. So then it was like, you know, AG versus and then they all kind of got back together. I liked at first, and I thought this was really well done of all the things they screwed up with Meng. I really liked how accidental, for lack of a better word, it was at the beginning when like Abby and Georgia cut because they're in the bathroom together and they're like, hey, do you want to get out of here? It's not a let's leave everybody out. It's just a coincidence. Just like when she wore her dress for the
dress shopping.
It's a complete coincidence.
Yeah.
But I also thought like, okay, Max has Bracia because they're doing the whole acting thing. And I like, oh, this is great because this is what happens in high school. You have your core, but then your interests take you around other people.
Right.
But the fact that it just kept happening where Max is being left out and she's not being told things. And they're reacting as if, well, why do you have feelings about that? Because we have a name as a group and y'all are doing stuff without me and then not catching me up. And then there were intentional decisions to not tell her things.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That. Yes.
I feel like what happened as the accidental moments of like, or not accidental, but like more spontaneous things kept happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coincidence.
It was like Jenny was trying, because Jenny kept talking about, I just want to have fun. Like, I don't want to, you know, I'm trying to have a normal spot in my life where I'm just having fun and not worrying about things. And then Abby is completely out of touch with her emotions and intentionally tries to be completely out of touch with it.
Yeah.
And Nora is kind of in her own orbit for a lot of the season with her stuff with her boyfriend and her fantasy novel, which is adorable.
I think it's like a reference to a Court of Thrones.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
ACOTAR. What is it? Court of Thrones and Roses.
They're like, are you painting smut fairies on the baby's faces? And she's like, it totally is. And even that moment, the way they were all there, it was all normal. I thought, oh, okay, we're gonna repair this. But no.
Yeah, I guess I wonder if like what kind of happened is that because they started doing things without Max and those things were like less dramatic, like that interaction.
They were enjoying.
Yeah, they were like enjoying not having to like get in touch with their emotions, not having to talk about it, just like flipping around doing random stuff. Yeah. And so then it became like, oh, if we tell Max, then we're going to bring back in the emotional component of this that we've been very much trying to push aside in an unhealthy way a lot of the time, but still something that they're doing to escape their own problems and to escape like having to talk about it.
Yeah.
So like, I think that, and I think also in the scene where in the finale where Jenny is it the finale or the second to last episode at the party? That's the finale, right?
The finale, yeah.
Where Jenny's cold to Max that we were just discussing. Like, I wondered too if that was partly because of what just happened with the trial and just just showing like Jenny becoming more like hardened.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it must be because it was very noticeable difference from.
Yeah.
It seemed like she was like almost manipulatively, like punitively, like punishing her for something, and I don't know what.
Yeah, like staring at her and just giving her one word answers to stuff.
Yeah, like when she said, I'm not mad at you either. Like literally the way that she said that seemed like something you would be saying purposefully to try to hurt somebody. Like
it was stone cold as fuck.
Yeah.
Like it's your fault that you thought I was mad kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's also like, I don't care about you enough to be mad at you. Like you don't factor in my life.
Yeah. When she said something like, we've just grown apart. That was also extremely cold. That was cold as fuck.
Yes.
Like, it's like she had no heart in that moment. I almost didn't recognize her. I was like, what is happening here? Like, this is not her. Like, it's weird.
Yeah, and then she's like, I don't know what you want me to say. It was like the end, I think, something to that effect.
Yeah, that part.
It's like, what?
I think like having that conversation wouldn't have been bad on its own because like you could tell somebody that you've grown apart and not have it be that cruel.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's also like, I don't even know if it's accurate to say you've grown apart.
No,
it's more like, I'm sorry, because what I expected her to say was something akin to, you've been busy with the play, and it's just so happened like Abby brought Virginia to dinner with her dad and his new girlfriend. So even with like you were talking, Aubrey, about the spontaneous moments, in that spontaneity, there were also moments of like sincerity and depth and things that just kind of came out.
Right.
And so within that, it's like, it just so happens that Max wasn't there, but now I know this about you, you know this about me. So anything that springs out of these things we now know about each other, I want to talk to you, not them, because you already know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I expected, Ginny to say, it hasn't been intentional, because that's what I wanted her to hear.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that's not what we saw, really. I mean, it became intentional
yeah.
once or twice towards the end, but it didn't start out as an intentional thing to leave her out because they were, like you said, growing apart. So you're right about that.
Right.
It's a weird, and again, it's one of those things in the writing where I don't always know, are you intentionally saying something that is canonically false?
Right.
Because you're trying to signal that there's an intentional shift in this character, because like to Kimberly's point, it's almost like Ginny's villain arc was starting in a way. Just that moment was very like, who is this person?
Yeah.
Because even with Georgia's cruelty, as her daughter sees it, Georgia was never just, I'm just out here murdering people. Like she was in survival mode when she stole, like the moment when she got the woman's purse, got the chocolate chip cookies and things like
cookies, yeah.
Obviously, we don't support that kind of behavior.
Right.
But it's also low-key impressive that she walks into this diner with no money and walks out with 2 cookies, a purse, money, and glasses for, Austin. But it's never cruel. And so for Ginny to sit there with Max of all people, because they had the thing with the blow up with the boy, and they're teenagers, and you're sleeping with my brother and didn't tell me. I don't even think it's that you slept with my brother. I think it's really that, because she said this a few times in this season, she feels like now I'm competing with my brother, not just for my parents' attention,
right?
But now my best friend doesn't always talk to me, but she talks to him. So that energy is also fueling Max's desperation, like, hey, we need to spend more time together, but there's nobody checking in with her to be like, hey, we're good. And so the whole we've grown apart. No, honey, you haven't grown apart. You just haven't been spending time together. So what does this mean? It'll be very interesting to see where they take this in season 4.
Yeah.
Because it just didn't feel accurate.
I feel like they'll definitely explore Max's character probably a little bit more next season, because we had that, the flashback when they were little.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With Marcus.
Yes.
Like, I love their parents. I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To a point.
But it's clear to me, obviously, that because Marcus has always been like the introverted, I guess, and quiet one, they've always been like more concerned about him. Whereas Max is more, I think they're kind of showing like Marcus is more, you can tell he's depressed. He's
right.
But whereas Max is like, she acts a certain type of way all the time. like she's really good at, I think, hiding how she feels,
Yeah.
and
She says
she's
that.
always happy. She's always, positive about everything, but deep down, she's also extremely depressed, but in the opposite way that Marcus is.
Right. He absorbs all the attention of her parents and she lets him because she
Yeah,
worries about him
yeah.
too. She's a really like kind person.
Has the biggest heart. Like,
Yeah.
and the way they kept slapping it around and stomping on it, I'm just like, all right, we're gonna ride it Dawn for Max because
I know. I do not like when characters are treated like that have a good heart. It really bothers me.
especially when they don't deserve it.
Yes.
I think something's gonna come around for her in season 4, though. I do, because I think they were setting that up. And like the episode where it has her flashbacks and you hear some of her voiceover, she says exactly what Kimberly just said. She says, "I'm just better at hiding it."
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's gonna come around, and the OCD kind of things they were like putting in there,
The light
Oh yeah,
switch.
she definitely
Yeah.
has.
Yeah.
like wanting the same number of lemons on the paper and stuff, or the
Yeah.
even number and stuff. I think they have to address that probably in the next season.
Yeah. One last thing on the party I wanted to say on the argument between, or not argument, but on that discussion between them, when Max later carries Marcus out and she says to her, like, we grew apart or whatever, and Jenny's like, I didn't say that. And I'm like, you said exactly that.
Literally that.
Did the writers not think she said that? I don't know. The way that Jenny said it, I was like, wait, do you believe that? Because you said that and worse 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was just confusing to me.
I think it's like what Denise said, though. It's like the characters themselves are saying things that are either untrue or inaccurately presenting their
Right.
how they should feel about things, because that's part of the character. It doesn't feel
Yeah.
like it's something where the writers forgot. It feels like the character is,
Right.
that's part of her character's journey, you know?
Yes.
Did anyone else think that Ginny was being weird with Marcus in his room, or was that just me? Maybe it was just the situation.
Which time?
When he was really, really drunk and he wet the bed. Was it in the final episode?
Yeah, it was the last scene with them together, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I think she was just really sad for him, but I think she
Yeah.
gives him a
Yeah.
lot of passes too.
yeah.
I like Marcus. I liked Marcus in the middle. I went back and watched like the first couple episodes of the first season yesterday or the day before. I forgot what an absolute prick he is in the beginning.
Yeah.
He is an awful human being. I mean, he's like press bad. Jesus.
The finale of the first season, when everybody's there and she's in the hall, I forgot Hunter even existed. I forgot he was with Jenny at all. And so,
Yeah.
in that finale of season 1, when Man is all coming at G because of Marcus and because of her and Marcus. And then
Yeah.
Marcus comes around the corner like, hey, friend, what are we talking about? And they're like, the fact that you and Jenny slept together. And he's just like, oh, well, you know, that's not a big deal. Like, we're not a thing or anything. I'm sorry. Did you not just tell her you love her? Did you not do that, sir? And so
God, he is awful.
it was bad. It was bad. And so I think because he's cute and broody and has problems, there's this part that's just like, oh, poor Marcus. And yeah, poor Marcus. But again, Max has the logic to say, you know, I don't think cuddling in the bed and like laying her head on your shoulder is what people trying to not be together should do. And it's like,
Right.
why is no one listening to the brilliant theater babe who has all the, like, is no one paying her any attention? It was so frustrating.
I know. I was going to say I like Wolf more.
Oh, we should talk about Wolf.
We will definitely talk about Wolf.
We will get there.
I was going to say that Nora, I think, she's not quite white bread. She's like a bagel that just doesn't
Yeah.
have enough. I mean, she and her boyfriend, super cute, but I feel like they're like, oh, well, Nora's kind of Switzerland and she doesn't want to get involved. And like, okay, but I just feel like she has a legitimate point here that what happened was awful and she's allowed to kind of have those feelings. And I
Right.
appreciate that they let that stand, that she's
Yeah.
like, when she comes in and they're like, the funeral's today. Of course, Jenny's not going to remember that because she's on this side of the whole thing. She's not thinking about the funeral, but she feels bad. So when Nora does come, she tries to make eye contact and Nora's kind of just not ready because it's too much. Because I'm sure on her side, she's seeing all of that that's going on in the family and she can't really make nice with the daughter of the woman who probably murdered Tom. So it's a very
Right.
complicated thing.
Yeah, I feel like they're very good at writing characters, whereas at first you kind of think, oh, why are they being such a bitch or whatever? But then when they actually think about it, you're like, well, actually, their reactions are actually quite valid. You know what I mean?
Right. I think that you can understand almost all of the actions of everyone on the show, whether you like them or not. Like, I do think
Yeah.
they're very good at that, and it's never so out of character. Even the plot twist at the end, it is shocking, but I do not believe it's so out of character that it takes me out of the show, and that's something that I fear these days.
Yeah.
Which plot twists? Because there were.
I was talking about Austin saying that his dad did that. Like, it's terrible. I hate it, but I could see Jenny.
That poor boy.
I know.
That made me so mad. Oh, that made me so angry. Like, I actually paused the episode when he said that. Because, like, from a writing standpoint, I was impressed with the twist because I didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
But I was also like, so this poor boy who only gets a line like every other episode.
I know. Yeah.
Is way too old to be 10 or tall to be 10 or 11.
I know.
Now, granted, his father abused Georgia. Two things can be true at the same time. It's one of my favorite things.
Yes, exactly.
And this poor kid, with no warning, is just like, hey, by the way, we need you to lie and say your father did this and did that. And he's not even, there's no scaffolding. It's kind of like with Max. There's no scaffolding about, hey, are you okay from,
Right.
because she's just like, well, I did what I had to do to keep mom out of jail. And
Mm.
I love that Georgia didn't know.
Yeah, I do too.
I love that she didn't know, because that gives her that moment to confront, this is who your daughter is. But you taught her to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
And by any means necessary, right?
Right.
And so I felt so, my heart just broke for Austin. And I just, it was one of those things that made me say to myself, what kind of show is this? Because now the quirky kind of, oh, she murders people and steals things. It's fun.
Uh-huh.
This is not fun. Between him and Max, like, how are you going to keep the quirky that we love while also treating these things with the severity that they, or the seriousness they deserve?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would handle that. Like, again, I was already shocked at the darkness of this season, but yeah, going into the next.
Yeah.
I think they've done a really good job, though, of giving every character their own interesting story and complex story. Like, a lot of the time, there's just a couple characters that you care about, and everybody else you're kind of like wading through their scenes, or it's not as interesting. But they've made everybody, and that's rare for me too, because I usually kind of connect to one or two or three characters in something.
Right.
And that's like what I want to watch. And it's hard for me to watch more like ensemble things in a more even balanced way. And this show did such a good job of that to me, because I'm like, every time there's another character's side story, I'm like as invested in their story.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. I actually also liked, kind of on the topic of flaws but understandable, but like Lynette and Georgia's relationship, like they just cannot get along from the outset, and you understand like both perspectives, you know? I mean, I fault Georgia for things like they show in the flashback Lynette wants to take Jenny to the bookstore and buy her all the books, and that annoys Georgia, and that should not annoy Georgia. Like, for me, I do believe in that situation. I'd be thrilled that somebody is taking my kid to do something special and something she deserves, you know, that I don't have the power to do.
Yeah, I will say that like there's a bit of a feeling I kind of understand there personally, is that when you have to fend for yourself and you've been like forced to be really independent, it's first of all really difficult to accept help.
Right.
And it also threatens you to accept help. And I felt that way when I was younger too, because I was like, I'm doing everything for myself. I'm parenting myself. So if somebody would come in, I'd be like, who are you? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So I kind of got that a little bit, even though I agree with you that Lynette was helpful, and it was something that she should have been like, I'm going to put my personal feelings aside because my kids deserve to have better. But I think also what Georgia was like really young and stuff too.
No, I appreciate that take. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how, this is going to sound weird, but I loved how wrong the whole dinner scene was when Lynette's just like, oh, let's just talk about this at the table in front of the kids. Just love because it's such a mirror of like how Georgia operates as well, where her focus is, well, when I want to talk about something and deal with something, I'm just going to deal with it, even if it's not the time. And Lynette does the same thing. And I love how they established their relationship and why it was so rocky. But then that night when Lynette is just like,
oh, at the dance,
I'm here for you, and I want to, and she let it all out, because when has anyone ever mothered Georgia? Like, no one has ever. And even Lynette to be like, I know it feels like I'm not on your side, but I'm asking these questions because we left so much to chance, you know? And I think that moment, I tear up every time I watch that scene. And then also when Lynette leaves and she says, you know, she's talking to Ginny and she says, she looks at Georgia and says, if you need anything, let me know. And she says, I will. And it's for this show in only a few episodes to believably create that arc was really, really well done.
Yeah.
I agree.
The evolution of their relationship was very nice.
So
Anyway.
good,
Mhm.
so natural.
Yeah.
The other thing I think with Georgia reaching out more or considering the possibility of getting help, like when she calls the therapist,
Yes.
was really moving to me. I really liked that. And it's like she's kind of starting to take a chance on getting help.
Yes, that's good growth.
And at the end too, when she mentions that she's going to go to therapy, it's like,
Yeah, I forgot.
And now that you say that, it's interesting that, like, obviously since the beginning, Ginny has always thought of her mother as a monster, but now she's kind of taking on some of what I guess Georgia has, just what Georgia has done and how her mum's behaved over the years. And now Georgia is kind of wanting to get some help. Like, I find that quite interesting that
Yeah.
we're going that direction.
the like slight flip on the two characters,
Yeah.
which totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And Georgia's been anti-therapy since season 1 when I was rewatching those episodes. She does not want Austin to get therapy, which is crazy. I think he just stabbed somebody.
Yeah, in the hand.
But
or something.
like, she's so anti-therapy because who are they to judge me? So yeah, it is a huge moment for her to
Mhm.
And
lean
like
into that.
speaking of moms like paying attention to the signs, like it's interesting that Georgia tells Ellen, like, hey,
Oh,
you may want to look
yeah.
at Marcus and his drinking. Yet they have a conversation at the Georgia Paul house where he's like, what is vandalism? She's like, oh, it's when you destroy stuff. You destroy stuff in the classroom so you don't have to stay in school. And Austin's like, oh, that cuts out the very next day. And Austin is doing stuff and no one makes the connection that because no one's paying him any attention. It's like
Right.
George is so focused on Ginny because that's the relationship, like the core relationship here. And no one even dialed in to the fact that this is so not like him. And poor Austin, when the teacher's like, we know you've got a lot going on, so we're going to give you another chance.
Another chance.
And he gets mad and storms out of the room. And no one goes, that's a reaction to not being suspended. Like, maybe we can talk about that. So it's just interesting how neither they're so focused on one thing. And I think a lot of characters are like that. They're so focused on one thing, they don't see the other thing. But the show is showing us anyway so that we get the full picture, which is what makes compelling TV.
Yeah, and I felt for Austin all season that
he
seems to be maybe actually like one of the most depressed characters that's processing all of this the worst, and nobody is acknowledging that or speaking to him or sad.
Because he can't tell anybody. Like it reminds me of all things, because I'm a Twilight gal, problematic as it is. The Twilight fandom is how I got my start in writing. And one of the things that I wrote in one of my fan fictions was how when Edward leaves her in New Moon, the reason she's so crazy about it is she can't tell anybody. She can't go to therapy and be like, yeah, my boyfriend and his vampire family left me. And this other guy like tried to kill me with a scar on my arm. And so it's like, Austin can't tell anybody about what's going on. He can't say to the teacher, well, I saw my mom kill somebody and I'm not supposed to say anything.
Right.
No one's even dialed into that. And so
I
just feel for that little baby. Well, he's not little.
And that is the one thing I did fault Paul for this season. I did think that he abandoned Austin too quickly. He didn't try to like side chat, let's go to dinner, let's do these things, anything. And he knew how much Austin loved him. And I thought that was fucked up. I do not otherwise think that he's a bad guy, Paul, but that part had bothered me from the get-go.
Definitely dropped the ball on that.
Yeah.
I think like one thing that may be discoloring my view of him is also just that I have this like kind of aversion to people who are seeking like positions of power. And so like the whole mayor thing, I'm just like, I don't even understand you. Why would you want to be a mayor?
You don't like him because he's the mayor.
Well, I mean, it's not that simple, but it's just
You're the opposite of Georgia.
I just feel like things like that come across as arrogance to me. It just reads that way automatically. And I'm probably projecting a little bit of that, but
that's very funny.
I think that is part of my issue with him is that I don't like his vibe because I feel like there's an arrogance that comes with even wanting to do a job like that. Of wanting fame, of like fame seeking.
That is very funny. Politicians. So like you're not going to like any politician in any show. Is that right? Obviously there'll be exceptions, but I mean, generally speaking, you just don't like power seeking.
I've never thought about it before, but maybe that's true. The power seeking component to it like overly ambitious people that are seeking fame kind of bother me.
I guess I don't picture mayor as that much power, even though it is, but like especially mayor of Wellsbury or
It's just there has to be an element of being self-centered in a sense of like I want myself to be the face of this. I want this face to be the face. That's just all.
But you like actors.
It depends on how they are outside of that. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, I have a lot of problems with a lot of actors. That's true.
Fair, me too.
That's a very interesting take on the desire to be mayor, because I actually see Paul as, I mean, I called him white bread earlier, but I also think that he doesn't seem very, like, even when he comes back to the office initially, and everybody's kind of like, just looking at him like, are we gonna
what are we gonna?
And he's just like, you know, not addressing it. I don't think he has that sense of, I gotta rally and I gotta save face. He's just a deer in headlights. And thankfully, Nick is like, sir, you have some things you need to deal with, because I don't think he's ambitious I mean, to your point, Kate, he's, you know, it's Wellsbury. It's not like
that I think
Los Angeles.
Different than New York City.
Correct. And he just doesn't seem very, I feel like he kind of pretty boyed his way into that job. He doesn't like he has the brain for it. He doesn't seem, I mean, Georgia had one of my favorite moments. It was so small, but when Paul and Nick are talking about Georgia's idea, and they're just like, it's a good idea, isn't it? And they're like, God.
Yeah.
But that's one of those nuanced things about the show that I love.
Right.
Even while she's home with an ankle monitor on, she's still the brains that says, well, what you need to do is X, Y, Z. Not for her sake. I mean, she benefits for sure. But Paul doesn't think of things like that. He's just kind of in his office twiddling his thumbs, going back and forth to Joe's, and I'm just like, nah, he doesn't. He's not giving, you know, mayoral vibes at all. I really think he just looks good on a poster, and they're just like, yeah, I'd vote for him. He looks like a nice guy. Why not?
Yeah. Side note on Georgia coming up with these plans, the drill at the end.
The drill is brilliant.
Can I just say the callback to her getting the binoculars?
Yes,
because when I was watching, I watched the season, and then when y'all sent me that lovely invitation, I started watching again, and I was just like, what is the point of these binoculars? Like, I thought for sure it would have something to do with her case. And then later when Joe was like, oh, we were just told, pay by this lady to just sit here and drill for 8 hours. I was like, that's where the binoculars, that's why they were.
Yeah, that's why they came in. Yeah.
Up until that point, I was like, so she's trying to get this guy a date? Like, okay, but
I still don't understand that side plot, but whatever.
And it took up so much time. And she's telling people, like, go up there and tell them what.
I think it was just to show how unbelievably bored and stir crazy she was going. I think that was the point of it.
I feel like it emasculated Paul a bit for me too. Like, I can't believe he went over there.
Totally.
It just shows what he would have done for her, though, right? I feel like that's been since the beginning. Like, I think he would have continued to just give her everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. He was so in love with her, I feel, and obviously, I feel bad for him. And can I just say the acting in the show is just, it's amazing. Like, especially from Ginny. I think her name's Antonia Gentry, and Georgia is Brianne Howie, and they are so amazing. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a character like Georgia on TV before, and the way she plays it is so well done. Like,
the charisma to like balance out the amount of crimes we're watching her commit and still love her as this like lovable Southern. It's very impressive. They're great.
And why I thought of that was just because the scene with Paul and Georgia, it might have been their last scene together, was it in his mayor's office when she comes to see him. I think it's at night. And I did love when did he kind of blame her for like what he's become?
Yes.
Yeah, you made the worst like version of him.
She said something like, people don't just become.
It wasn't something that wasn't already in you.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. I love that line.
I love that too.
It was so good.
Love it.
Such good writing.
Yeah.
And it's one of the few things she could have said in that moment that wouldn't feel like, really, girl? Because anything else would feel like, you do realize this is on you. But for her to say, like, well, no, she's right. Because we have choices in how we how we react is one thing, because that's instinctive. How we respond is something else, because that's a choice. And the way he responded repeatedly over the course of their relationship, they just didn't need to be together. And I was glad when they broke up. bad for her for what it looks like optically. I mean, even the moment when he says to the lawyer outside the house, I don't think George is telling you the whole truth about this. And the lawyer's like, oh yeah, she told me. And he's like, oh, she did. Great. And I'm like, well, great, but incomplete, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah.
Tell him everything.
Yeah.
I thought it was actually like fantastic writing to write in the pregnancy lie, because you see it like coming and you're like, oh no, don't. But of course she's going to. But of course it is kind of brilliant because she really wants him just to stick around for the rest of the trial to get her off free, right? So you like get where she's coming from, even though it's insane and immoral and awful. But then it also gives you the out. For those of us that do like Paul, it gives him that like final reason to leave that doesn't make him a bad guy, even though he's abandoning her mid-trial and it looks awful. She did something terrible to him, and that was like the straw. So I just thought it was very good writing to give us that reason.
Right.
Yeah.
It made it a little bit more definitive too, of like, you're not coming back from this. Like this she did something pretty bad. Like you can't.
Yeah.
And I think she knew that. I think she, like you said, did it knowing that it was already over between them and just needed to string him along for another however long to get.
I think as soon as he left, that was it for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, mentally, that was it.
It was done.
You abandoned me. Yeah.
Yeah. And she didn't care anymore.
Right.
It was what you were saying, Kate. Nick said in the last, oh, that's so weird to say. Nick said in the last episode,
he wasn't even in the last episode.
Yeah, he was, right?
Fuck them. Sorry, you took me to Handmaids.
Oh, we're crossing Nick's streams. Got it.
Go ahead.
It's hard. It's really hard. Focus. We're not just here to dump on Handmaid's Tale. I'm sorry.
All right. No, I think we've been doing really well. Go ahead.
We have been doing well. We can sprinkle some in. It's okay. Nick, Ginny and Georgia Nick, in the finale, when Paul is telling him what she did, and he's like, yeah, that's evil, but like it's also kind of brilliant.
Yeah.
He respects her evil genius. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. He is. I like when people have the ability to like see that, you're not blinded by hate. He sees both aspects of her still, and I appreciate that. He still hates her, but
and me liking Paul, I do hope that he can, I don't know, recover from this somehow. I don't know how.
Well, he's about to have a baby probably, so obviously it's all just gonna be
Well, when wasn't that? So it must have been, if it is his baby, it must have been when they hate fucked, or he hate fucked her, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Now that's the question: whose kid is this? Right.
Oh my god! It's gonna be so. Or imagine being awkward. He's gonna be like, "You're not fucking pregnant." Like,
you're right.
Like, he's not gonna believe
she has the baby. Yeah. I think that even if it's his baby, that Joe will obviously like raise it as his own and be like, because Joe, and I love Joe.
Anything. Oh, we need to talk about Joe because I just love him so much.
Oh my God, I love him too. And I think, you're set up like that from the beginning because you see them as children, you see them like have this like meet up at, I don't know, is it a rest area? Whatever it is. So she knows, but he also figured it out at some point, right? They've just never discussed it.
Yeah.
What? Figured what out?
The glasses. It was because Ginny was wearing her glasses
that he gave her.
The glasses that he gave her.
Oh, you're saying figured out who he was. Right, got it.
They met up when they were kids.
Yeah.
And had this conversation, and that's what eventually led her to Wellsbury because she remembered the name. And and she knew from the beginning because she's like, "Oh, you got your farm finally," or something, and he's like, "What?"
Yeah.
Okay, and then I couldn't remember the moment, but I thought he had also figured it out. But the glasses is why.
Yeah, I went back and watched that earlier because I wanted to know, just to get context on season 1 and like how all this began, and it was the glasses. And he was going to say to her, I remember who you are, but then Ellen came in and she's like, "Show me the ring," and that's when he realized he was engaged to Paul. So he put the kibosh on.
Okay, so they've still never discussed it, but they did finally have sex.
I wanted more details on the sex scene.
Well, we waited for like such a long time, but
I know. Like, come
it's
on.
okay.
Not that kind of show.
Well.
Wow. Is there more?
Well, what?
No, it was just a well.
Okay. But I also loved like Joe moments earlier in the season. Like first, it's weird he's not seeing her. He explains it's because he likes her too much. I love that he comes over to play Mario Kart with her after they call her a serial killer on court, and everybody's watched that, and he's like, "You know what? Let's play Mario Kart.
He feels so bad that she has nobody.
That's like my love language. It's just so kind to come over, and I don't know.
too.
I
I
love
love him
him.
so much. He's the best.
But I've always loved him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that she trusts him so much to literally just come out with everything that she's done. And yes,
Oh, in the last episode, and he's like,
Yeah.
she killed Cynthia's husband, and he's like, oh.
Well, and the fact that he basically already suspected all of it and was still there for her.
Yeah.
Like he sort of knew it.
right.
Oh, for sure.
But I think he
Yeah.
was more shocked that she was being honest than he was about what she was actually telling him.
Yes. And his
Yeah.
reaction was so good. Like, he's like, holy shit, what is happening here? But he's not,
Yeah.
you know, he's just shocked that she's telling him. And
Yeah.
I love that. And she's like, I'm going to be honest with you.
Oh.
I really like that scene. And again, I really like him.
I also love the fact, just backing up a bit to the scene at her, the event she's having at her house, when just as a turning point in Georgia's understanding of things, when Joe is explaining like why he couldn't be there, and he's like, I have feelings for you and you know that, and so I don't see you as just a friend. And she looks at him and she goes, you needed space.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like applaud her for figuring it out, but we know like what a monumental realization that is for her. Because
Right.
with Paul has to kind of spoon feed her and be like, hey, what you're doing is not okay because I'm not okay.
Yeah.
But here she figures it out because she's looking at Joe and kind of seeing like, hey, he needed space and I violated that. And then she just lets him go. And I think there's so many moments like that with them, not to go back to the other show that will not be named, but it's like when people are like, well, why do you ship certain people? Like, it's not because, oh my God, he's so hot. It's because the show has these moments that show how this character is different with this character than they are with everybody else. And for Georgia, that's
Absolutely.
Right.
He's never judged her for literally anything. And he's so wonderful. Even though in reality, he should probably judge her just a little bit.
Oh, for sure. Like when she's leaving her kids and he still doesn't judge her. You know, he has sex with her and he just like lets her. And that to me was also a very like reminded me of a character in a show we watched recently who just like lets her make her decisions.
Yep.
Have her agency and supports her and doesn't judge her for it. And I'm not saying you should not judge. I'm just saying it reminded me of said character.
Well, and it's also like what I don't know. Yes, they should probably talk about it.
I'm sure they will.
But there's a big difference between judging someone for something and just having a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the lack of that initial like judgment. He's like, you have agency over your own life and your own choices. That's the difference, I think. More than I'm like gonna be, you know, a dad about this and like tell you what you should and shouldn't do. Like she has to go through her own journey to understand that herself.
Yeah.
And he can be there for that and they can talk about it and he can support her, but he doesn't need to just tell her what to do.
Yeah.
Which he never does. And it's great.
By the way, speaking of the night she leaves, another reason Max deserves justice is because she sees Georgia leaving and she spends the beginning of the next episode trying to do the right thing by Ginny, not knowing, well, should I tell her? Should I not tell her? And she's agonizing over this.
Right.
Only for Marcus to be like, oh yeah, she knows. What? And it's again, it's completely accidental. It didn't have to happen that way, but it was just one of those moments where I'm like, people wonder why Max is the way she is. But this is another one of those moments where she didn't agonize over the secret because of Georgia. It was, I don't know if Ginny should know or not. Is it better to tell her or not tell her?
Right.
But even in the midst of all this distance between them, she's still like, what is the best thing to do for my friend? And it just,
Right.
Ginny doesn't know that, but it's just like, we're seeing this and
Yeah.
it just makes that scene at the party just so much worse.
Yeah.
So much worse.
Oh, I hate it.
Yeah, a lot of these characters need to have real conversations about these side things that we're seeing that they're not knowing about.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess how do you bring it up? But it would be nice to see them like actually, I don't know, talk about all of that.
Well, Max tried to talk to her and then she just
Yeah, she did.
like that took a lot for Max to do because her mom was telling her, don't do that. It's gonna make it worse. But like she had to at this point. We've got so many things have happened. She had to confront her and then it went like that. And that's really shitty, Jenny.
Yeah.
It's so funny that her mom is like, hey, don't talk to Ginny about this or don't talk to your friends, but also can you tell me what's going on with Marcus? So it's like, I want all of your feelings engaged over here, but something that's really on your heart, I don't want you like something that's just about you and your feelings. You need to smother that. But I need you to play the secret of your brother. It's like, what, lady?
Yeah. See, I didn't like that about Ellen either.
Maybe with Marcus out of the house, she'll start
noticing Max.
Yeah, like start realizing what's been going on with her and that she needs
I
support too. Just because she's extroverted and talkative and has like a lot of social things going on doesn't mean that she's not struggling.
Happy.
So they need to.
Right.
And even
I would like to see
that,
her
like,
mom address that.
She breaks up with Silver. She tells Sophie, like, no, no swiper, no swipe.
I like that.
Swiping, no swiping.
That whole back and forth with both of them backstage was so good.
It was so good.
Great.
Where like Silver was there and Sophie was there and she was having two conversations just with her own voice only, back and forth. So good.
I love that.
One of my favorites.
Again, I love that character.
She's great.
I want to say one thing about Ellen again. I like the character of Ellen like a lot. She's just likable. I like her husband, all of that. But like, it drove me insane this episode. At first, it irritated me. She was telling Max to like smother her feelings. But then I thought of it from my own personal life perspective, and I'm often having to tell my child to like, somebody doesn't respond to her and she wants to like text them again. And I'm like, you can't do that. You just got to calm down and wait for them. It's not the same thing, but I was just trying to, relate to it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not quite the same thing. But anyway.
In a way, I could see that, though, that crossover, because Ellen doesn't know the full scope of what's going on either.
No. Yeah.
The degrees of what's happening. But I think that the way that she refuses to see the truth about Marcus drove me like crazy by the end.
I also loved how, because as a person who suffered with depression a few times and knows how debilitating it could be, I loved when Max said to her, you do know that like him going to this dance isn't going to fix things.
Right.
Even though I was annoyed at Ellen so much for like, we got you a studio and you're working the steps. And then he's like, I don't want to feel this way. And I know she knows that, but she's also his mom. So she's thinking there's got to be an angle at which I can attack this where I can fix it. And she's just not ready to confront, I can't fix this. So she's like, we're just going to keep him at home. So he vandalized the building and he's drinking heavily, apparently, but we're not going to send him to rehab. And it's like, because you don't want to admit that this is beyond you and things have evolved to this point, which is a totally understandable reaction, even as I'm like, ma'am, that is not going to help.
You have to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I just love how even if a character makes a choice you don't agree with, you understand how they got there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. For people who are telling stories on television, if you're going to have a character do something, we should understand why. And it just makes sense for anyone listening.
It's weird you'd have to say that, but I do think you do.
I think I do for certain things.
It's nice to just remind ourselves of that. Yeah.
Yes. Because we need reminders. Yeah.
I do, just talking about Marcus's parents, I love his dad and I love the actor playing his dad, Chris Kenopik. He's great.
I love him too. Wonderful.
Yeah. I like that they added that element into the show with the signing and even when they went to the school and there was an interpreter there.
Yeah.
And as an editor who talks a lot about inclusion in my work, it's one of the things I love most about the series, how it's so, I was telling my husband, I said, if you look at the scenes when they're like at the dinner table or whatever's going on, it doesn't feel like, hey, he's deaf and it's great. It's just they're signing as they're talking, they're signing as they're eating. It's not an issue. He's not infantilized. He doesn't just defer to Ellen. Like they're having the leader of the family. And it was so not a big deal, which made it a big deal. And I just loved that down. It was so great to me.
Yeah, there were so many scenes where they walk into a room, like this scene Kimberly was just talking about at the principal's office meeting with the parents when they are telling Marcus that he's failing. And when Marcus walks into the room, like the second that he sees his dad there, it's very subtle. He starts signing as he's talking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like even as he's walking through the door. And I was just like, this is I love this.
So well.
So you're right. I love that, the way that was integrated into it.
Yeah.
And his dad is just the sweetest person too, though. Like he's just
he's like a teddy bear. I want to hug him.
Oh, and he's so supportive. Like the scene where he goes into Marcus's room right before Marcus sneaks out to go to the party, and he's like, I'm here for you. Like if you need help, you need to just ask me. And I'm just like, I would ask him. He's the sweetest.
No,
Which
he
is very
really is.
different than the energy his mom gives, where she's like, I'm hurling all these solutions at you.
Yes.
Something has to stick.
Yeah.
Right.
That is just like, even the moment when Marcus is like, can we not be disappointed in me at every dinner? And his dad is like, I don't know, can we? Because these are decisions we understand you're depressed, we understand stuff is going on, but sir, you are making decisions and we
Yeah.
are entitled to respond. And I just love that it was not he didn't yell at him, it wasn't a big deal. It was just, okay, you're asking me, do we have to be disappointed? And I'm going to turn that to you. Do we have to do this every dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a very
Mhm.
subtle but very well done way of kind of, yes, I'm still here and I still love you, but you're asking me a question that you really should be asking yourself. Because, and then there's Ellen's like, well, we're not disappointed, we're confused and concerned and disappointed, so man, you're disappointed. Like, she doesn't even want to admit, whereas his father is very much dialed into his feelings, she's not.
Yeah.
She's just not connecting there because I don't want to be like, it's different for moms, but there is a bit of she can't confront things. And I think that might be why she's always trying to put Max's fire out, because Max
Yeah.
is very, let's talk about it, let's get it out in the open. And her mom is clearly not like that.
Yeah, that's true. You're right about his dad. It's very like he calls him out on stuff, but in a very loving way where you still
Yes.
feel that he loves him and supports him anyway.
Yeah.
Like even in the last scene, I noticed this as they were walking out when the last scene with his dad where Marcus is in the living room saying that he hates himself, and then the dad is like walking him up the stairs, and you kind of see in the background, like obviously his parents are like upset and everything, but he like ruffles his hair.
Yeah.
Yes, I noticed.
And it's just these cute little, like, I'm here for you. Oh, it's so
Mhm.
sweet.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a dad like that.
Yeah.
I was blessed enough to have one, so I'm
Yeah, I have a
Aw.
great dad.
Oh, that's good, you guys. We're 50-50 on this podcast with the dads.
Yeah. I wish. I
Sorry.
wish.
Yeah, I wish too. It's okay.
I just wanted to make this note while we're talking about actors. One of my pet peeves about shows is when they cast actors that look nothing like the character. And I just wanted to say that the actress who plays young Georgia, the casting for her is absolute perfection. Like they look quite similar, I think. And I think they did such a good job. And I think she's a great actress as well.
Even their mannerisms and things.
Yes.
They like,
Yes.
Yes, that like vulnerable sass and like
Yes.
her facial expressions are so.
Yeah.
I really have to remind myself, this is a casting. This is not actually footage of this actress.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
know.
Because she looks so much like her and acts like her, and
It does.
it
Yeah.
is so very well done the way they did that. Yeah.
Yeah, the actress is Nikki Rommel. I probably said that wrong, and I'm sorry, but I 100% have this thought, I don't know, 20 times an episode. I'm just like, their mannerisms, and
Yeah.
that's obviously something
Mhm.
they've worked on, are so good. So
Yeah.
consistent. You can just see the
Mhm.
younger Jenny in her at all times, and it's fascinating to me how good they are at this.
I mean, the
Yeah.
younger Georgia, you meant, right?
Yes, you can keep that mistake. I say it all the time. I mix them up all the time.
2 G's.
And it's also
Yeah.
the Peach thing, because we talked about that.
Right.
She's Virginia, but her mama calls her Peach. It's very
Yes.
confusing. It's
It
very
does. It slows my brain down
just enough.
millisecond that I can't afford. So yes, if you could not do that, that would be helpful. Even though I think Peach is a very cute nickname. And I
Adorable.
do think that they use it for actually Georgia in the final episode also, but it is 90% of the time used on Jenny.
You know what I've just realized is that I
What?
thought she was calling her Peach because her name was Georgia, but her name's Ginny.
That's what we're saying. It's so confusing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that it does add to my switching of the names, just that nickname. But I don't know. It's probably just I'm not that smart.
Definitely
They're
doesn't
too
help.
similar. I think that Austin has earned partnership after what he did in this season and should be added to the building name.
Ginny and Georgia and Austin.
Yeah. I mean, that was a big sacrifice on his part. No, seriously, I'm very worried about that kid. But let's talk about Wolf because I feel like we're gonna not talk about Wolf somehow.
Oh yeah. Wolf.
I like Wolf. I thought that he was good for Jenny, except that they did something really stupid. Also, why did none of these girls use protection? What the fuck?
That whole moment where they're like, hey, we're gonna do it in the laundry room while a whole bunch of people are just partying.
Ah, I know.
I was just like, I'm sorry, is this what passes for teenage fun now? I mean, I know
And the door doesn't lock. Why did they have to add the door
Lord.
doesn't lock? I didn't
You
like
know what
that.
I thought was interesting is that when he turned the washing machine on, I was like, girl, that might be more interesting for you if you keep that on. I was like, why?
But
are
it
you
was
turning
like
that off?
it was
it
a totally
so
fucked
funny
up
the
washing
face she
machine.
made. He was just like,
Yeah.
and then he said, yeah, I'll just turn that off.
Right. Yeah. So at first I was like, this is the plot hole because there's no way that she would not have that girl on birth control at a very young age. But then I remembered actually in season 1 she takes her to get birth control. So she just didn't take her birth control.
When she got taken out of the house, she forgot it.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Stupid.
Yeah.
But like the whole Mang group taking a pregnancy test together.
But none of them thought they were pregnant. They were just doing it for Nora.
Right. But I knew that Jenny was pregnant. The minute that
Well, yeah,
came
true,
up,
right.
I was like, oh no, Jenny's pregnant. They would not
Right.
be doing
Right. But it sounded like Nora was on birth control, but she was just worried because she was, I don't know, she has like endometriosis or something going on.
Because she was going back she's still going to the gynecologist about it later.
Mm.
Right. All right, fine then. I guess Jenny is the only one that did that. But I'm still surprised, being the daughter of a teenage mom, that she would make that mistake. But she was so
Yeah.
mad. I mean, she was so mad at her dad, and her dad had just asked, are you having sex? So she did it literally to get back at her dad, which, as Wolf says, wild.
Yeah.
Wild. I wasn't sure about him at first, but then I found his quirkiness quite interesting.
Yeah, me too. It was just a little like it's so different from Marcus that I appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
I like him as a
Yeah.
character. I think he was a fun character. I mean, he should have also taken some responsibility in this sex scene, though.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
been like-
No, he's totally at fault. And yes, his reaction to the pregnancy was terrible. It was,
It was not.
accurate,
Yeah.
but extremely understated.
Yeah.
He fucked up.
That's also, again, you say it's accurate. Like, even in the moment, you're like, what the fuck? But then you're like, okay, but I'm a teenage boy. What the fuck do I do here? But then
Right.
I loved when he came back, and he
And he said, I'll
told
do
him-
whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I
Whatever
like
you
that
wanna
because he
do.
gone back and thought about it for a moment. And then usually, a lot of teenage boys would have just been like, fuck this. This is way too
Right.
difficult. And, he actually thought about it for a moment and thought, no, like, I need to do something about this.
I feel like it was a little out of character how he reacted. Like they just want to make a reason for her to go back to Marcus, and that's fine because she loves Marcus, and that's all well and good. But I don't know. Doesn't matter. They can do that if they want.
He just has such a I don't know if it's a disconnect from reality or what. But it's like in a fun way. I don't think he's like
So it checks out for you.
usually a bad person, but I feel like he's just a little bit in his own world, checked out, and kind of making light of everything and making jokes about everything, like even in serious moments.
But this is too serious, right?
Yeah. So I feel like
I get that. Yeah.
He almost just couldn't process it, really.
Yeah.
And then in typical Ginny Georgia fashion, she goes and she handles it without, oh, that's how you're going to react. I'm just going to handle this on my own. But even and I don't remember now because I didn't go back and rewatch that whole situation, but I remember thinking kind of the same way Georgia doesn't understand, ma'am, you're on trial because you actually did murder someone. It didn't seem like Jenny connected to, ma'am, you got pregnant because you had unprotected sex on a washing machine at a party.
Right.
It doesn't seem like, I can't remember. There was something she said.
It's more like she's the victim.
Where it was
she said it was only once or something. She
I don't know how to. It was something she said where I'm just like, ma'am, you are in honors English. Let's not pretend that you are not smart enough to understand how this happened.
Right.
I love the solidarity of, them taking the test for Nora all together, and then Marcus being there for her. Talk about what typical teenage boys would not do. The girl you love slept with this other guy, got pregnant, and is having an abortion, and you're going to be there for her and just be like, do you want to get ice cream? There was no, it was just, are you okay? That's all I'm here for. And I'm
so good.
As much of a butthead as Marcus was earlier seasons, his ability to kind of, the moment when he sees them outside,
and
that
was a good scene.
The house that falls out on the floor.
Yeah.
I'm just yes, boys have emotions too.
Mm-hmm.
Not being it's not you, it's me. No, he realizes I can't be that for you consistently. And then it out because they almost kiss, then they do kiss, then he doesn't remember. And it's just like, this is why he didn't want to be with you and why you can't get over somebody you're hanging out with all the time. And I think his layering was really good. And I appreciate that, because sometimes like the broody hot boy, just is the broody hot boy. He doesn't have any depth.
Yeah.
And especially as someone who suffered with depression, the way it's like it's not even all the time today was a good day. It's like, this was a good 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then come upstairs a half hour later and he's under the covers and like, can't everybody just leave me alone? And on the outside, it's like, but you were okay a few minutes ago. It's like, well, I'm not now.
Yep.
Right.
I don't know what to tell you.
That's just
just what it is.
I also would kill my mother, though, if she had made the decision to tell him that about me while I was still going through it. Tell Marcus that she was having an abortion.
Yeah,
it worked out well for her. She was relieved, so all is well. But personally speaking, I would murder my mother. No, not murder, really, but I would be furious.
And Ginny and Georgia, you have to be careful. Do you
I
murder? That's a possibility in this show.
Yeah, you don't get to just say that around this show. I am also grateful that she did not murder Paul, or at least not yet.
No, don't murder Paul.
That was the moment where Paul's like, so can we just have a minute to talk about the fact that this all got revealed in court and now everyone's looking at me like I'm the next victim. Like, what do I do here? And it wasn't really until he said that I dialed into, he's not just shocked that she was twice before and her husband's died. It's the fact that he's married to her now.
Yeah.
And it's like, poor Paul, like no one's even though, we got to get to the punch in the wall because we haven't gotten to that yet. But I felt like that was a moment where, again, no one's dialed into like what he's dealing with, which is significant here.
I felt terrible for him when he does confront her about he's like, take the pregnancy test. And obviously she's not going anywhere near that pregnancy test. But that whole conversation, that whole breakup, I felt terrible for him because he did love her. Like, I don't know that she loved him at all. I don't, she cares about him.
I think she liked the thought of him, like the idea of him.
I think they both did, though. I think he loved the idea of her too, because he didn't really know her that well either. Really, I don't think. I mean, I haven't watched the previous seasons in a while, but I feel like it was a little bit of a mutual, kind of creating this idea of the person that they were in love with versus actually knowing each other deeply.
I think though, because he went through the steps of taking her to his parents' house and enduring that whole thing, and then coming back home and saying, no, you are still my choice. I think he didn't know what he didn't know. He didn't know Georgia wasn't who she was presenting herself to be. Even when Cynthia in season 1 is like, poor Cynthia, she's like, she embezzled funds. And she's like, well, the money's there. Is this too stressful for you? And Cynthia's like, but it's like, to Paul, it's like, this poor woman, single mom, she's worked so hard to pull herself up by her bootstraps. And he sees a lot of admirable traits in her, but he just doesn't know.
Right.
And so when Nick is like, I don't think you want to know who Georgia is. And then he finds out. So then it's the same reason why cheating is such a problem. It's not just the act. It's all the deception that accompanied it. So now it's like, well, what's real and what isn't? And I think even that isn't something that Paul really got a chance to talk to her about. Like, you kept all this stuff from me. So how do I know that this is real when so much about you is not? It doesn't mean that she's not as smart and cunning, and because to be a successful murderer, you have to be pretty cunning to get away with it more than once, but, or at least until the investigator showed up. But it's like, I think he reached his limit at a point where, like you said earlier, Kate, it makes sense for that to be the line, because before that, it's like, you're abandoning her in the middle of this situation. Now, this is beyond the pale.
Yeah.
Because you became excited for a life that just didn't exist. And I'm so glad the show didn't drag that out, because sometimes they do that with those sorts of things. And I'm like, I'm so glad that we found out early on, or that Paul found out early on, that she was lying. Because I was just like, please don't drag this out. Because whatever sympathy I have for you and what you're going through is rapidly evaporating. Like, the longer you do this. And so I was really glad that he found that out. But their breakup really it was hard to watch, which is good TV, because you could see that even though against his better judgment, he came back.
Yeah.
He wanted to be wrong about her, and he just wasn't.
Yeah. He was in love with the piece that she showed him.
Yes.
He didn't know the rest of it. So.
And could not have imagined it.
Yeah.
Especially like had Cynthia successfully proven that Georgia embezzled funds, okay. But Cynthia clearly had it in for her. And Georgia deflected with such, I would never, how could you say that? Oh, like the gaslighting was legit. Like, oh, I went to the bank and withdrew money. Oh no, who would do such a thing? And Cynthia's just like, you put the money back. And she's like, so I knew you were going to barge into my office today and accuse me of embezzlement. I think this is too much for you. So it's like Paul seeing that and going, yeah, Cynthia's nuts. There's no way he thinks Georgia actually did all those things. And then, of course, Nick doesn't say anything to him, not then, about what he knows. So, of course, he believes the facade because Georgia's very good at the facade. It's why, because I've seen some people say, well, you know, Zion was an absentee father and he had no right. Like even when the Gil called the people and they took the kids away, it's like, well, Zion didn't know that when the kids were like in hotels, they were not. They were sleeping in her car.
Right.
He had no idea any of that was going on. Now, the flip argument is, well, he should have found out. Well, if she's telling him, hey, we're fine. The kids love school. We're doing great. What is he going to do? Like, have her followed? He has no reason to believe she's lying about that because he doesn't think she'd lie about that.
Yeah. And the kids are lying for her at the same time, too.
Yes.
So he's hearing the story that she wants to present. That's like a lot of the characters around her are getting the slice that she's providing for them. Like
nobody gets the whole story. Right.
She's curating what she wants them to know.
Nobody has the whole story. Like even in the flashback when Lynette says to young Ginny, so do you have a lot of friends? And she kind of goes,
yeah.
But that's that nod as opposed. Now, you know, when a child actually has a friend, their face lights up because they're like, oh, yeah. And she just kind of
they want to talk about it.
Which also broke my heart when she says, I don't want to have to get to know everybody all over. I don't want to not know anybody. And her mom is just like, you can be anybody you want. It's like, ma'am, she's 11. Like, that's not it, honey.
The being a kid lying for a parent is a very familiar feeling for me. It's just no, I'm just saying, like, I can relate to that feeling. When I saw that scene, I was like, yep, your mom is looking at you being like, you better freaking lie about this. And it's like, what are you gonna do? So yeah.
On the topic of Zion, I've always liked Zion, but I did have one problem with him this season. It leads up to him taking Jenny away, but it's the conversation with him and Jenny when he realizes that her stepfather had done something to her that's implied like sexually inappropriate, whatever it is. And you can see him get angry and you're like, yes, you should get angry. But then he's angry that she's confirming to him that Georgia killed that guy. Mm-hmm. He's not angry on behalf of Jenny for what happened to her and like, let's talk about that.
Right.
And that just really like confused me because he literally skips right over that just to, oh, Jenny killed him. I'm furious. I'm going to take you away from her. And it was just so strange to me. And I think it's probably just maybe a writing flaw.
But I think also they bring that up later because somebody says you care more about Georgia than Jenny or something. Don't they say that at one point?
Yes.
I don't remember it specifically, but it sounds right.
So I think there is something going on with him he has this really complicated obsession with Georgia.
There is that moment with Simone when he's telling Simone he loves her. And he's like, you know, because you've been here with all this stuff with Georgia. Now, I know in his boneheaded way, he's trying to illustrate that given what's going on, the fact that she's been so steady has been really beautiful.
Right.
But for her, it's like, does Georgia need to be here with us in this moment? Like, what if he's like, and then he says, she's the mother of my daughter. Well, you know, she's not the virgin. So like, you know, she's not the Virgin Mary. She's a woman you had a baby with whose life you were in and out of while you were shooting pics all over the world. Okay. And it's not that she's the mother of your kid that keeps you in her life. It's that Georgia is Georgia and you're sucked up into her vortex.
Right.
Word from All American. And you don't know how to get out of it. And Simone is wise enough to pick up on that even in this moment when you're telling me you love me, it's not because I'm beautiful and wonderful and smart and caring. It's because I've been there for you during this situation with Georgia. So is it that you love me or that you have an airbag for the drama that she brings into your life? And to your point, it doesn't seem like it's even, because he could have said, the way you are with Ginny is really special to me.
Mhm.
Right.
Say that. He brought up Georgia. And so
Right.
I think you're right that in that moment, how are you more outraged about her mother killing this man? Because my father, my husband, that they would dig him up and kill him all over again.
Right. Yeah,
And you
exactly.
just skipped right over that.
Yeah.
There's also the fact that when Zion gets the kids out of the house, okay, his daughter is 16. Could he should have talked to her about that before he just did that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think
Mhm.
that also shows that he doesn't care about Jenny's feelings on this. It's all focused on Georgia.
Zion didn't know about Gil, right?
No, but he should have asked Jenny what she wanted to do. He should have said, "Hey,
No, yeah.
I want to take care of you and protect you now, and I would like you to come live with me," and have that
Yeah.
conversation with the 16-year-old who could understand that conversation.
Who was
Yeah.
also best friends with her mom.
Right.
Because it's not like Gil filed the report, took both kids, and dropped Jenny off at her father's house. He showed up, so you knew what was coming, and you couldn't give your daughter a heads up to say, "Listen,
Right.
Yeah, this is gonna happen.
this
Yeah.
is in motion. There's no way to really prepare you, but this is what's coming." And it really,
Yeah.
especially like he showed up on his motorcycle. You can take my motorcycle to poetry class. You can come in for that, but you
Right.
warn her that this was about to happen.
Yeah.
It's such a traumatizing scene for a kid to be
Oh,
literally
trauma. Oh
torn
my
away
God.
with the press out front, and
Oh my God.
it's just one of the
That
worst scenes to watch. But yeah,
was
he absolutely
horrible.
should have warned her. I still like Zion, but he had these weird moments too where he had this like villain face on that I've not seen before, or this like very like
Yeah. Well, when
you
he
disagree?
came in to talk to Georgia, can't remember exactly what they were talking about, but it seemed like, I don't know if anyone felt this as well, that he was gonna take like custody, try and go for full custody of Ginny.
Oh, at the end, he said joint
Yeah.
custody. So he's just
Oh,
going for
joint
50-50. I
custody.
don't have a problem with that. And also, Jenny supports it.
I mean, I think there was a scene where you just said like he had that villain face on.
Oh, like earlier on in?
Yeah, I think it was a couple episodes before the finale where I thought that he was gonna go for like the full
Gotcha.
custody.
Yeah.
He
But
probably
then I
was.
think obviously he finds out more about the situation, obviously
Oh,
with Gil.
yeah.
And
There's a moment when he finds out all of what the kids were going through, and he
Yeah.
shows up to confront her about it.
yeah.
I think
Oh yeah, I think it's after he goes to therapy, right, with Ginny, and that's when Ginny was saying about like the camping in the car. Yeah.
That's it.
And I think that, like, he's the only Black man on the show, the Black father on the show. And I think him being in and out of her life, I appreciate the way they handled it. So he's not an absentee father. But I also think
Yeah.
in that moment, like I said, I think for something else, he feels like and he said it so many times, even when Paul was like, "Do you think he did it?" He's like, "I don't know, but I know Georgia." And I
Right.
think
Yeah.
to him, it's like he's always been kind of the exception. Not unlike another show we watch where someone, the way she's a whirling dervish and she's a tornado and a hurricane and a tsunami all at once. But when it comes to what we do, she would never lie to me. She would never present something to me that wasn't true. And I think the realization that while he's thinking his kids are safe and living in good situations, they're camping out and living in cars. I think something snapped in him because it's like, I've been defending you and taking crap from my girlfriend, mom, and everybody else about her presence in my life. And all this time I'm thinking my daughter's safe with you. And she wasn't, because you didn't even reach out for help because you wanted to do it all yourself. And you don't trust people, which is understandable. And so just in terms of like word choice, I don't think he had his villain face on. I think he was betrayed in a way he just didn't think she would do. And it's like, I need to get my daughter away from you because clearly, I don't know what, again, it's the same thing every moment. Everybody has that moment with her except Joe. I don't know what to believe about you anymore because, and I think for her, it's like, but you know me better than anybody. So you should know why I did what I did. And he's like, well, I thought I knew you. And I think that interplay is very interesting.
Yeah. Because once you've been lied to, then you question everything. Like,
you have to.
His entire history is
Yeah.
Before we move on from Zion, I just have to say the scene where he calls Max looking for Jenny, and at the end of Max is like panicking on the call because she's like pretending that they're in the party together. And she says, "Okay, love you, bye."
Yeah.
Absolutely got me
That's
so
so
hard.
funny.
So funny.
Oh, speaking of scenes like that, the moment this was such a I love how, because my husband says I love my teeny bopper shows because you give me teen angst, I'm there. But I love
Yeah.
the moment
Same.
when her friends are just like, by the way, when Bracia and them are like, girl, your father is like so hot. And they're just talking about she's like, la 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 la. It's just such in a show with so much drama going on, even in
Yeah.
their personal relationship, it felt like such a natural thing for them to
Yeah.
do. And I just
Oh
love
yeah, for
put that in
sure.
there. I just cracked up. I thought it was so funny and so accurate the way they did that.
And
Yeah.
so accurate because he is quite lovely to look at.
He
He
is.
is a tasty dish to look at. I think the way that they did that in the midst of all the serious stuff was just such a great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes the writers like
Teenage.
nail stuff like that because it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like, oh, we're adults writing about teenagers. Like this felt
Right.
something that would actually happen. Just like the
Oh,
moment
yeah.
on the table with the book, and they're like, "Are you putting fairy smut on these girls, these kids?" She's like, "What? No!" And one of my other favorite moments was when Jenny and Abby cut, and she slapped, like Abby slapped her, and like they're playing, but she like hit her in the chest, like, "Hey, don't say that." And then a beat goes by, and she goes, "That really hurt." Like it was such a subtle thing, but I just loved it so much.
Right. The real moment.
Yeah,
I love Abby too. I love her character.
I love Abby.
love Abby.
I feel terrible for Abby. I do love that in the end,
I feel awful for you.
she seems to have grown a little as far as Press is concerned, and she's like, be nice to her, even though obviously he's not going to be nice to her.
Mm-hmm.
But I love Abby.
The show is
Mhm.
really good at like exploring like all sorts of things that really happen in your teenage years,
Yeah.
like in your like friend group, like all sorts of different problems that in reality like everyone has, it's relatable.
Right. Yeah, I love that scene in the bedroom where they're trying to make her feel more comfortable talking about her bulimia by saying all their things,
Yeah, yeah.
I hurt
Which is
myself. I burned
another
myself.
moment Max just wasn't present for.
Yeah.
Right. Just
And
organically wasn't there.
it just bonded the three of them even more strongly, and she just
Yeah.
unfortunately left out, even to the tune of them egging her father's house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how that whole thing, and it's so funny because that's exactly how it happens with teens. It's not like we all get together and decide. It's just this
Right.
begets this, which begets this, and before you know it, you guys spent 3 days together, and I knew nothing about it. And it's like, well, yeah, but we didn't mean it, which is why
Yeah.
Jenny's response to her feels so out of left field. You didn't grow apart.
Right.
We just haven't seen each other, but I don't know. They're gonna have to make that.
Yeah.
They're gonna have
Although
to make
I think Abby a little bit was, I think she was the one that was kind of saying that not to tell Max things.
She did say that.
She did say that at one point, yeah.
She didn't want to make it all, I guess, serious is what she said,
Yeah, which is interesting because the way that they managed to have that conversation with Abby and actually get her to admit to it and talk about it is so much more organic than like just trying to press someone for something. But I mean, it just happened in the scene.
Right.
But I thought that was really interesting too, because it's like, yeah, she doesn't want to face this, but then because of that, they all just started saying stuff that was actually kind of serious stuff, but they just started saying it very like casually in the moment in the scene to like, and it's kind of like a relief. It feels like a release. Like they probably want to say it.
Right.
And that's the way they're getting it out is they have to use that kind of like excuse of the situation to say the things that are really big. And
I love how Nora too was trying to come up with things.
yeah, Nora was funny.
That was funny. She's like trying to come up with stuff. And Abby even said she didn't want her to know about her new relationship or like what's exploring because she didn't want it to become this whole thing. It's just this is something I'm doing. This is me having this relationship or I'm having these feelings and I'm just seeing where they go. I don't need a parade. I don't want to have a whole conversation. I don't want to label it. And I think there could have been a moment of I think they didn't give Max the chance to just kind of hear what they were saying. And so all he's feeling is left out. And it's at this moment where like they can't even really talk about it because, Jenny's up on stage. And then it becomes this whole, hey, listen, this is why I didn't want to tell you. And it's like, this is all new. This poor girl. This is all new. He had no context that any of this was going on.
Right.
Justice for Max.
I know. Any major things we've missed that you can think of?
Just generally about like Marcus and the way they dealt with the depression stuff with him, I thought was really good because they showed, I mean, he got really angry and was acting out about it and stuff. And I don't know, the progression of that was really well done, I thought. And like Denise said, I relate to that a lot.
Yeah.
And I relate to the idea of like it just being like the scene where he tells Jenny that he doesn't love her. Was like, man, I relate to that stuff. It's like the exact kind of angst that I'm like, yep, I can feel it. I get exactly why he's doing this. Like he can't see.
He feels like he's not good enough, right?
Yeah, he can't see something in himself that somebody else should like. And it's like you see the other person and you think, oh, they're just blinded by this, by who they don't know who I really am. And I know because I'm inside me, I know that I'm worthless.
Yeah.
So I don't want them to waste their life on me. Oh God.
And then there's also just like what he said at the end of season 2, that when you're carrying depression, you just don't have the bandwidth for anything else. And you never know, like moment to moment, it's like, oh, you want to call and come over and I can comfort you, sure. But then tomorrow you want to do the same thing and I don't answer my phone. And there's no predictability in it. And I think
right.
He knew because they tried we're not together, yet we hang out all the darn time. And so it's like the only way to end this for real is for me to tell you I don't love you. And because otherwise we're just going to keep going around this same stupid mountain, as Joyce Meyer would say. And I think that's part of the thing. It's that he had to tell her that to break it off so that she could move on.
Yeah.
And again, when Max finds out about Poetry Guy, she's like, I'm acting weird because I know something. She doesn't just weaponize it. She's like, I don't even know if I should tell you because is it better to know? And isn't this what you wanted? Like, and he's like, I don't know. But she's carrying so much, poor Max.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but just like the way they showed Marcus dealing with all of that was so relatable because it's like he really wanted to do what was best for Jenny, but he did still love her. So it was like really difficult to just be like, you know, I'm going to tell you I don't love you. And then I'm going to like watch you live your life without me when I know that I'm not good for you right now. And oh God, so good.
Even the fact that he repaired the window when they put the brick
I know.
the window.
Yeah.
He comes over and then Georgia calls Jenny from the phone. And there's this moment where she calls Marcus and he's like, oh, that was your mom. Like I didn't call you. And it's like, but you went over to my house and you fixed the window. Like it was just.
I love that.
That was another example of what you said, Denise, like a perfect kind of mistake, like a perfect mistake almost. Like the circumstances aligned to make that happen.
Yes.
Because if they had shown him actually calling her, you would be angry at him because you'd be like, well, what are you doing then? You're just messing her around now.
Yes.
Right. As well written.
And he would not do that because he established the boundary. And of course, you know, Georgia like barrel rolling into the window is one of my favorite moments. Like her so great. And also, I love how for as much as Georgia didn't see what was going on with Austin or even the impact of her stuff on her kids all the time, she did go to Ellen and kind of say, you may want to keep an eye on this.
Right.
That's not an easy thing to tell your friend, like, hey, I think your son might be struggling with alcohol. But she did meddle in a way that was, you know, I just want to bring this to your attention. And Ellen is just like, oh, he's fine. And she's like, okay, I'm not trying to tell you, parent, as opposed to doing anything more. And so I think her arc, you know, was very interesting, especially her deciding to accept responsibility for what she did and then being bewildered about how this about face came.
Right.
And then like the moment when Cynthia walks into the Blue Farm or whatever that the cafe is called, and she says something to Joe about the cameras, and he's like, there's no cameras in here. And she realizes, oh, I got played.
Yeah.
And in a way, it's like, again, I felt bad for Cynthia because this woman did actually murder your husband, but they framed somebody else for it. So, and even the morality of that, it's like, yeah, he's a horrible, despicable human being. Should he go down for murder, though?
No, and having his son have to do it.
His son having to do it?
It wasn't just getting her off by lying. It was getting her off by trading parents. And he did not do it. So that's just going to really fuck him up.
Yeah, surely there's going to be some fallout of him being arrested in the next season, right?
I wouldn't mind if Georgia murdered him next, to be fair, but that's not the story.
One thing we haven't discussed, though, that should be said in Georgia's favor is her absolute refusal to out Cynthia and Joe's affair, even if it would help
Yes.
her.
Yes.
I think,
Yeah.
like, she does have
Or even
morals.
suggest she could have done it. Like, because the
Right.
lawyer's like, we just got to serve up another person. And she's
Right.
like, no.
There was a moment where I thought Joe was going to do that, where he was going to out it himself to try to help Georgia.
Oh, did I? Yeah.
But then I was like, but he probably wouldn't do that to Cynthia. Like, that's the
Right.
thing.
Right. I wouldn't like that.
No, I wouldn't like that
Yeah.
either. But for a minute before I like thought of the repercussions of it, I was like,
Yeah.
I could see him doing that. And then I was like, no, actually, I couldn't see him doing that because he wouldn't hurt Cynthia to do that.
Even the moment when he tells Paul's like, I'm coming in for coffee or pick up my order. And Joe's like, oh, so I don't know if this will help, but like I was at the house that night. And Paul's like, pardon?
Yeah.
It seems on the surface like Joe's just like, and he is just like, hey, I don't know if this will be helpful, but if you need me to be her alibi.
Yeah.
But Paul's reaction is almost like he doesn't think he was just there to drop off sunglasses.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Right.
And especially because Georgia didn't tell him that. And so when they're talking to the lawyer and she's like, we came home, we had cookies, we went to bed. Paul's like in the kitchen making a sandwich, like, didn't somebody come by? And she's like, right, somebody came by. And then he's like, and didn't Austin's father come by? Yes. It's just so funny. Paul's just
It's
like,
very funny.
the more he's learning, and that's why like the way their relationship devolved, it's like, well, every time he turns around, there's something else. And it's not,
Yeah.
oh, I'm not a natural blonde. It's, hey, and then like when he's telling the kids, you know, we got to present a positive front. Like maybe we should take your mom this picture. And he takes the picture down and sees the bullet hole and he goes, maybe not. I'll just leave that there. And they're just like, like the way they infuse the comedy in with all of this stuff is just really well
It's very
done.
good.
Just going back to the Georgia going through the window, that just also reminded me because it's so funny to me that like when she sticks her ankle monitor out the window because she can't go like beyond the barrier of the house. And then it's like such a good callback because when she went over to talk to Ellen and realized how far she could go into the yard, that's what she's thinking when she's going to Marcus's window. Like I can make it to his window because it's like still kind of on the edge of the property. Yeah, they did a really good job of weaving that stuff together and in like a funny way.
Also, the poetry in this show, I think it's amazing. Like I looked up, I thought maybe they had brought in a specific poet or something to write these poems for her, but they did not. It's the screenwriters and the creator of the show.
It's so good. And the way Antonia like just performs the poetry is just incredible. Like with the passion and the energy, everything about it is just amazing.
The rhythm, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and they're all written like very much from you feel like they're all written by Jenny.
Yeah.
Right.
It's also an interesting thing how I forgot about the monster poem. Like, forgot she did. And for them to bring it up now, when it came out, I was like, oh no.
Oh, right?
Yeah.
Like the guiltiest poem ever.
Yes.
It was really good because I had also forgotten entirely.
Completely forgot it happened.
Yeah.
I just don't want to have to wait for so long for season 4, and I know we're gonna have to wait for ages, and now I'm upset.
Yeah, they're saying 2027, which means
Ew.
So I'm gonna have to like rewatch and that's the thing. You have to rewatch the whole thing.
Yes.
So for as much as like binging is great, it's like, yeah, but it takes 2 years for the show to come back. So like, for example, I couldn't even remember, like they're talking about her crimes. And when Nick is like, you don't even want to know what Georgia did. I'm like, well, actually, I would
love to know.
Tell us. Yeah.
So could you show that conversation? Because I don't remember what she did.
We could use a presentation on that, Nick.
Yeah.
Same.
They didn't do a like last season on or whatever. That would have been helpful at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
My thing is I get it in one sense that like TV shows just they produce a season, everybody gets busy, they do other stuff, they come back together.
Right.
But like, do we really need 1,000 television shows that run for 6 or 8 seasons? Like, I think it would just be smarter and more cohesive, in my opinion, if you were just like, okay, we're going to do 4 seasons. We've planned that out. We know that's going to happen. Everybody needs to sign a 2-year contract. We're going to film the hell out of this and just like finish all 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Like, even if they release them over 4 years, like film it all while lock everybody into like a period of time of like finishing the project. then you don't have the issue with people aging. You know, like a lot of the, it'd
That's
be
an
more
impossible.
cohesive. It'd be, I guess it is, but it just seems like the other option nowadays is like, I don't even really want to start a lot of shows that are going to go on and on and on, because exactly what Denise just said, I don't want to have to rewatch the entire show every time a new season comes out.
Because then you don't remember the nuances. And so you're looking, there's a moment in a show where you're just like, now see, the way he said that makes me think I'm supposed to put something out, but I don't know what it is. And sometimes it's not even the big stuff that would make a recap. It's like a subtle thing that, that they keep repeating. And unless you binge, all 3 seasons already, you're going to miss it.
Yeah, and I don't think most people have time to do that every time a new show comes out. Like,
I really don't.
I was wondering, Harry Potter did that really well, the movies, right? Because they just filmed them so quickly. But now they're doing shows. I'm assuming they're going to have to do the same thing.
It's probably harder too, because like they want to see if it does well. If it does shit, they've just wasted so much money, filming.
Right.
Let's see that after like 1 season, but I feel like when you get to like seasons 3 and 4, you have to pick up the pace, guys, because this is like,
who did that? I think it was The Bear.
Oh yeah, probably.
I think Bear filmed seasons 3 and 4. Like they filmed season 3. Everybody took like a month or a 2-month break, and then they went to film season 4, which I'm in the middle of now, and it's amazing.
That show has come out so quickly, I feel too. Like
like clockwork.
That's why.
Yep.
Right, because it's been exactly a year.
Yeah, it's been a year
since the last one.
The new season just came out?
Yeah, it just dropped, the whole thing on the
25th.
I don't think we talked about Paul punching the wall next to Georgia.
Oh, we can talk about that.
And just how, like, a lot of people are like, oh, I hated Paul after that. It's like, well, yeah, but that's for him, as mild-mannered as he seems, to get to that point. And for them, that's the point. And even the actor said that he really did, it took them forever to film that because he just did not want to do it. And they're just, but see, that's good. The fact that you know how reprehensible this is. And the way Georgia kind of, it's the first time you really see her cower to him of all people.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that he would see it and realize her reaction is not just because, oh my God, someone's trying to, come at me this way. It's the trauma is showing up, but he didn't catch it.
Right.
So angry. And that was just like, oh, well, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It didn't make me hate him. He didn't hit her, but I understand. Like, I think because he showed regret, remorse, whatever, the reaction on his face, he understood he'd crossed this line and it scared him and he backed off. It did not change my view of him.
Yeah, me either.
By any drastic means. Yeah. No, I like Paul, but he's going to be, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I don't know if they'll try to force the romance again next season, what with the baby, but I guess we'll see. I can't believe that her and Joe will just be happily together, of course. So
I feel like Paul wouldn't be able to forgive her now, really.
Yeah.
I don't think Georgia wants to anyway, I don't think.
Right. He's so angry. I mean, he was so angry to say, like, no comment at the press conference and cancel the lawyer. I mean, the lawyer is very expensive. He did need to kind of cancel the lawyer. But all of that was so aggressive because he wanted her to go down. So it actually makes me wonder if, like, next season he'll be, like, trying to get the custody of the baby. I don't know. There'll be lots of drama, I'm quite sure.
I mean, not to go there, but, it may be obvious when she gives birth whose child it is.
Yeah. I think
yeah,
there will be some clues.
There may be an indication, I'm just saying. I don't know if they're going to do that, but that would be hilarious if it just was like, oh, well, okay. Paul, you are not the father.
You can also get a paternity test while you're pregnant.
Oh, can you while you're pregnant? Pretty early on? Is it just like a blood test?
I think it's dependent on at what point you do it. You just, there's like I think there are 2 options for how they do it. And it's like, they can put a needle into the like placenta, I guess, to like test it that way. But I think there's something else they can do with just the woman's blood.
Yeah.
But it's maybe not as accurate. But yeah, they can do that.
Interesting. I'm sure they'll draw it out for quite some time, but
yes, probably.
Before the baby comes out, we will know who the father is. It was funny when Joe was like running around at like panicking about when she slept with Paul.
Yeah.
Like quietly.
Now that makes sense why they were calling that out. Yeah.
Right.
That was funny. You wait, I'm sorry. You were
just
when did
just back up again one more time?
Yeah. Exactly. What night was that?
And poor Paul is just like, well, yeah, he's like, when? Like, what do you mean when?
how did Georgia learn nothing from Jenny getting pregnant? Like, are you on birth control, honey?
Oh my God, I know. All right, that's a wrap on our discussion of Ginny and Georgia. Come back soon for our discussion on another summer show, which we will announce on Instagram. So come find us there if you haven't already. Thanks for listening.
Bye.